Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Please hit the subscribe and like button if you enjoy because it really helps. So I want to start to go into Druid and Celtic mythology. But we're going to have to come at this from very different views and we're going to have to do various sections. The reason being is I was told my own story growing up of how Celts and Druids came into play, and there's just so many stories, so many stories, it's unreal. The truth can never be known. However, we can always speculate and investigate and create theories of our own if we wish. What I wanted to start with is the Dagda. And we do always think of goddesses more when we think of Celtic and Irish and such. You know, we always seem to turn to a goddess. But I wanted to start with the Dagda, the god. The Dagda said, "The power which you boast, I will wield it all together." "You are the Dagda," everyone said, and Daghdae, good god. And that was his name from that day forth. The Dagda is a well-known god of the Tuatha Dé Danaan, but he's one of the most complex gods, especially when you look at Celtic paganism. Irish law, Celtic law, is absolutely everywhere. It really is. But it's all spoken. It's all being passed on from generation to generation through spoken words only. The Dagda is known by many different names. It's spelt many different ways as well. I can pop them in the description, don't worry. But Dagda comes from the epithet meaning good god. You know, it implies a god that is good at all things. And he got that name apparently during the second battle of Maige, Turied, because he promises to do as other Tuatha Dé Danaan have said they will do, and that's fight. Whether that's true or not, we don't actually know. There are so many different thoughts and views regarding where his name did come from anyway. It can also be viewed as, if we look at the Indo-European gods, which include Zeus and Cerberus, also Thor. Dagda and Thor are all deities who are connected to storms, fertility of crops, and they tend to have club-like weapons. In basic Celtic, the connection between Dagda and Cerberus, whose name means good striker, is both the gods have a striking implement and are associated with a cauldron. Their tool can give life at one end and take it at the other. Dagda shows, and he's through history so much, honestly, has many meanings, but he shows a deep, powerful connection with earth and life. He has these, just amazing, vast amount of knowledge looking at texts. He's very noble, he's very kingly, he's a great warrior, but he's also an amazing father figure. Now, it's said that he had two wives, but the story that I know and the one that I know of, the wife of Dagda came, a phantom, the shape-shifting goddess, the mighty Morrigan, whose he's was a host of troops. And that's a tale of Dagda and Morrigan meeting just before Eienn, before the battle takes place. Obviously they have sex, and the place in which they have sex is called the bed of the married couple. If you were to read that in a text, the bed of the married couple, you would assume you were seeing a bed and a room. That's not so. It is a land place. It is a consecrated place because of that reason, so it means something completely different. It's important to note that it is assumed through Celtic and Irish law that they were actually a married couple. They were an item. If you want to research more into the actual Dagda himself and how he incorporates as a king of the Tuatha Dé Danaan, there are many stories you can research. I will also list them in the description in case you want to look at him further. The reason I am bringing Dagda into this, Dagda was said to be the master of Druid magic. He was a Druidic magician and he possessed magical objects. The cauldron of plenty is very powerful, symbolic image in Celtic myth. You know, it comes with abundance. In other crafts, it's seen as the womb. Then we have the great staff that could kill 9 men with one strike, yet the other side, it could heal a man from death. Very, very significant. The harp that could change seasons. Now, these stories of the cauldron, the staff and the harp, they go very deep and they are very wide and stretched. And, you know, they're stories where he lost the staff, it got stolen by Lugh, and there's so many stories I could go into, but that's not what we're here for. We're kind of here for the Celts and things like that. So the reason I have brought him in is because he was the master of Druidic magic, and he's one to be worshipped as a god now. Many worship Dagda, and he was the king of the Tuatha Dé Danaan. And through the Celt and Irish myths, he's always been a warrior and a life giver and a life taker. However, if we look at pagan Irish myths, he took the role on as a poet, which means he was also a bard. Think of all that. That's a lot for one person. It's pretty amazing. He is the king of fairy mounds of Ireland, and he has authority over all the fairy hills and those that rule them. Trust me, the origins of Dagda are so vast and deep. So I will tell you the tale in which I was told, and we'll go forward from there. The only reason I have to bring in Dagda and the Tuatha Dé Danaan is because of the tale that I was told. Is it a true tale? Can't say that, I'm afraid. But I wanted to bring my tale first before we got into any kind of other factual evidence out there where we can suggest that Celts and Druids may have come from. So I was told the Tuatha Dé Danaan appeared through a smoky sea. It must have been foggy that day, by the way, but it was called the Smoky Sea. And they appeared as giants with golden hair and blue eyes. Bear in mind, they were appearing on island. Everyone was smaller on island. They would appear as giants. They would. They were extremely powerful, yet kind and fair. Dagda was a master druid who became the king of the Tuatha Dé Danaan. He was known as the king of the Tuatha Dé Danaan people. Dagda taught whoever was willing to listen his druidic ways. And people became then to be aware of Druidic ways and Celtic ways. Dagda and the Tuatha Dé Danaan spread the Celtic Druidic ways wide, and then it broke off into its own sort of branch, Druid Celt, even though they're very similar at this point, so we're talking back centuries. We don't know if that's true, and we don't know where the Tuatha Dé Danaan and the King Dagda, whether he came from there or from the sea, or whether they were already there, or we don't know, we really don't. But that's the story that's been long told to me, is that they appeared from the smoke of the sea, and they would appear as giants because, like I said, in Ireland, then yeah, you know, they were quite small people, so they may have been seen as giants, sorry. But maybe they were Vikings. That sounds crazy, I know, because we're talking way back, but think about it. They appeared through the smoke of the sea. But many Vikings did that, didn't they? They appeared through the sea, and it was like I say, the monks, when they thought they saw dragons swirling around the skies of colour and fire, it was the Vikings approaching on their Viking ships. So I don't know. Could they have been Vikings even? That is a possibility, you know. It really is. But regardless, they were called the Tuatha Dé Danaan, and Dagda was their king. And I was brought up to believe that once they came to the lands, they were the ones that taught Celtic ways and Druidic ways, and that they kind of just through time branched off into their own sections. Whatever the case, if you look through all myths and lore and folklore and things, you will find that Dagda has had a main influence in Celtic and Druidic and Irish myth and folklore. He's a very, very influential god. That's a certain, just like Brigid as well, which we'll do later on. I wanted to give you that first. That's what I was taught. That's the tale I was told, is that the Tuatha Dé Danaan with their King Dagda appeared through the smoke of water, beautiful golden hair, blue eyes, and taught the ways of the Celts and the Druids. Next episode, we're going to go into various different stories, myths of how the Celt and Druids may have come about. But that's just the tale that I was told that I wanted to start with. So you understand that not everybody's told the same tale. We're all told different tales, and we don't know if any of them are factual. Thank you for listening. I truly appreciate it. And many blessings. We'll carry on further next time when we go into more detailed historic things of the Celts and Druids.